wrote out 10 different hooks to start out this episode, and I'm still struggling to figure out which one to use, so I'm just gonna go for it. I can't believe I'm saying this. It has been 1 year of the Horror Headquarters, of this podcast, of this dream that I've created into a reality. Just saying 1 year is insane. August 30th, 2023 is when it all started. Now, of course, I did release the trailer on about August 21st, but the first official episode was released on August 30th, and it was my favorite film of all time, The Nun. It's insane to see how far this podcast has come, and I'm super, super grateful for everyone that has already clicked play on this. If you guys are a new listener or someone that's been listening since the beginning, someone that just started listening, I am so appreciative of you pressing play on this and supporting me. I am so, so, so blessed. And if you had told me a year ago that my podcast would be where it was today, I would have laughed in your face. Today is going to be all about just a recap of what we've been through, a little bit of fun facts about some episodes, some questions that you guys have sent in to me that I'm going to be answering throughout this episode, and just some little tidbits. You guys, there is some Easter eggs. There's going to be some Easter eggs in this episode about episodes to come, about previous episodes, about a film that I may or may not be releasing in October. I really hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys love this episode, and let's dive right in. Now, as you guys can see, I'm wearing the official Horror Headquarters merch. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. I know this merch is expensive. I know it is very highly priced. I'm currently working to get it lowered down so that you guys can purchase it about around $25-$30 for a short sleeve version. For a long sleeve, I'm going to try to get maybe $30-$35, or maybe even closer to the $25-$30 mark. I am working on that. I know that's probably why, or that's probably a big reason why you guys haven't purchased one. So I am working on bringing that cost down, because this merch is so comfy. And horror season is right around the corner. It's like the perfect time to wear it. Of course, horror season is every year, all day. The first official Horror Headquarters t-shirt is that one. That's the first official one. There was about 5 or 6 that I had to go through in order to find one that I really liked. I like the style of it, obviously, where the Horror Headquarters is seen and then the castle is seen. That is the first official one that I've been wearing for about 9-10 months, because I did wear it to Salem when I went in December. Now, a little history about me is I started this podcast when I was at a really low point in my life. I wanted something to do at night, and I always crave doing something at night. Something about me is that I'm very productive when the sun sets. I'm a night owl. I'm not a morning bird. I'm a night owl, and you guys might hear some birds chirping outside. They're really pissed off that I said that. I'm always watching horror films at night past like 10-11 p.m. until like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. And I thought, why don't I talk about these? Why don't I discuss these things that are going on while I'm watching horror films, give a review of this kind of stuff? And then that's when the Horror Headquarters was born. One night on August 21st, I said, you know what? I'm going to pick up my phone. I'm going to make a trailer just on my phone. I'm going to record the episode, and I'm going to see what happens. And then the first episode was released August 30th, and that is The Nun, right there. I recorded that, fun fact, on my iPhone. I did not have all the special equipment that I have right now. See, like I have this mic right here. I released the episode thinking nothing of it, and I want to show you guys a screenshot of where my podcast started. I'm always taking screenshots. Thankfully, I have these pictures. So this was when I first released the podcast, when I first released the intro to the podcast. I had 1 listen, 0 followers, 0 plays, 0 audience. Another fun fact about the Horror Headquarters, if you guys have been here since the very, very beginning, from episode like 0, from the trailer, is this was the first logo that I used with this picture. And then I quickly changed it. I went into an app, I created a design, I created the font, then this was born. Something else that you guys are only hearing if you guys are watching this episode right now is this logo. I'm working on changing it. I want to kind of evolve this picture before I make new merch, before I release new merch. This is a work in progress. I may or may not do it sooner than later. It could be a year, some couple months. It's something that I'm working on, but what I can show you is the draft of what this design is looking like so far. Now, like I said, this is a work in progress. I've just started working on it, but this is something that I've hand drawn, and it's obviously like still in the early stages. I haven't completed it, but this is what this is starting to look like. So we have the tower right there. I'm still figuring out where I'm going to put the horror headquarters on here. I'm still figuring out the design that I want. If I want a drawbridge in the front, if I just want a big door that says maybe HQ on it. Can't wait to see how it turns out. Can't wait for you guys to see the final product, but I'm very excited. Merch to notebooks to stickers, paper, pencils. I'm giving a lot of Easter eggs right now of the stuff that I'm planning to do for this podcast when it blows up. So one of the questions that you guys asked was, what was my favorite episode to record or make? There are so many. I think one of my favorites, if not my favorite, was Eloise Asylum. That one exploded more than the other episodes, and I've noticed a pattern that people really enjoy when I talk about insane asylums, that when I talk about history of a haunted landmark that has a horrific past to it. And I've noticed that through, like, obviously with that one, with the horrors of Traverse City State Asylum, as well as the Masonic Temple in Detroit, you guys really take a liking to that kind of stuff. So I am going to be diving into those a lot further. I have so much planned for the month of September and October, as well as November and December. There's just so many things I've had laid out that I'm planning to create for you guys. Very exclusive content that I can't wait to release. The horrors of Traverse City State Asylum, the horrors of Eloise Asylum have been some of my favorites, as well as some that are coming up in the future, including Coraline episode, Twitches. I'm going to be doing like a whole special on Twitches. It's coming in October, that one. Can't wait for it. I literally have so much planned for that episode. It's going to be like 3 hours long because I have so much to say about Twitches. Fun fact, it is my favorite movie of all time. Not just favorite horror film of all time, it's my favorite film ever. It's the film that got me interested in acting. Oh, forgot to mention, I purchased a water phone. I am officially someone that plays an instrument, which is super cool. I mean, obviously besides singing, but this is going to be very, very important and something coming soon. You guys might hear it somewhere. Another question that someone asked was, is there any plans for future episodes that I can tell you? Kind of already went over it, but lots of stuff planned for the months of September, October. Like I said, Coraline, Twitches episode, and I'm also planning on going to one of my favorite places, either in September or October, that I can't wait to discuss. One more question that I want to talk about before we move on. Somebody asked that I should do like some kind of interview with a vampire. I don't know if this was directed towards me or towards American Horror Story. I'm going to interpret this question the way I feel fit and the way I feel like they were trying to say it. Is they said I should do an interview with a vampire, like in a vampire style. I actually like that idea a lot. I've never really thought about it. Why not record an episode doing it in a different voice or interviewing someone that could be of a vampire, or being that we're nightlings, being that the logo has blood on it. Thank you to the person that submitted that question. I'm excited to see what I create with that feedback. It opened the floodgates up here because now I'm thinking of doing episodes in different styles, in different ways, in different tones, having like a creepy one and then maybe a cheerful one, maybe doing some story time, making up a story. You know, there's just so much potential for this podcast, for the creations that I want to do, and we'll see. All right, something else that I want to show you guys is, here we go. When I hit 100 listens on the podcast, this is what I posted. Some of you guys might think that milestone is small, that like, oh my God, are you kidding me? There's people that get millions of listens. I'm like, I just started out. This was amazing to me, and I was so blessed. I can say officially today we've hit 4,000 listens. I think that we gained a lot of potential through YouTube. So I think Google Podcasts going away was a blessing in disguise, because moving to YouTube, I have over 110 subscribers over there, and people love the episodes. They especially love the asylum ones, hence why I'm planning on doing so much more about asylums, because there's so much about the past of multiple asylums, especially in Michigan and across the world. So I'm really excited to start diving into them to see what you guys think of them, and just doing different styles as well, because I think something else that I want to incorporate into my episodes is my own music, like creating some like background music like that, some transitions in the background. But I've noticed that most of people like when I just talk and there's not like a music playing, because I've listened to multiple obviously podcasts, and a lot of them usually only have music playing when there's a transition coming up, or if there's like a really intense dramatic moment. Many different platforms that I'm utilizing to the best of my ability in order to introduce this podcast to every single person in this world, so that I can promote it more. I'm obviously thinking of doing a lot more promo, running a lot more promo on Instagram when I have the time. I will say that when this film that I'm releasing called Visions releases in October, I'm gonna have some time on my plate to kind of restructure the podcast, probably start a season 2, because this episode, fun fact, is the last episode of season 1. Season 2 starts in September, and I can't wait. There's like so much planned. I'm so eager to get started. But you know, last night I was making a script for this episode because I wanted to read off a script. Every single time I was writing, I started crying, because just thinking of how far this podcast has come and how much more is planned, thinking that I started this a year ago, just sitting down, just doing it for the hell of it, and seeing where it is now, it just makes me really emotional. I'm so proud. Just wearing my merch, just wearing my own merch. Like, I'm like, I created this. I did this. I did that. I charted in multiple countries, which is insane. And you know, that just goes to show to anyone out there that wants to achieve something, that thinks that their dream is too big, nothing is impossible. Please go for that dream. Chase it. Don't let go, and don't let anyone tell you others. Because I had a lot of naysayers. I had a lot of people say, no, this is going to be a waste of your time. Don't do it. You're not going to like blow up, get a million people. I'm like, I'm doing this for me, and so that I can find people that connect with me on a horror level. Again, you guys, there's nothing that's too big. There's nothing that's impossible to achieve, because in just such a small amount of time I've achieved so much. I've created my own short films that I've released, that have received critical acclaim around the world. People said you couldn't do it. People say you can't create a film by yourself, that having a one woman or one man show is impossible, and it's embarrassing, and it looks critical, and it looks like you're lazy. No, it doesn't. And to any filmmaker out there that creates their own films, that stars in that film, that edits it, that puts the music, that puts the editing, the directing, the cinematography, all of it, the costuming, the makeup, kudos to you, because doing it myself, I did not realize how long it is, how long the process is, how much work goes into it. And making Nightmare was such a eye-opening experience. It was such a humbling experience, because realizing the amount of work that goes into creating a film, every single tiny detail counts. Obviously making Visions now, and working on Visions, which is of course another horror film that I cannot wait to release. I am actually still editing and working on it right now, but we are getting super close, and then I'm going to be starting adding some special effects into it, which I can't wait to do as well. But yeah, I say this all, you guys, to show you guys that there's nothing that's impossible. Please create that channel, make that film, make that video, release that song. Do it, because you never know where it could take you. And even if it doesn't take you as far as you want within like the first week, year, there's always room to grow. That's what I like, is no matter where you are right now, it's not going to be the same position next year, because you're going to continue to work on it. Don't stay stagnant. Keep releasing, keep creating content, keep expressing yourself through different art forms. Because like now I draw, I create videos, I make films, I'm trying to work on music, I make poetry. It's like I'm doing everything. I make a podcast. I'm just trying out different areas of art to always constantly express myself, so that I'm not just sitting at home bored. And I've found so much joy in it, and I want you guys to have that same amount of joy that I've had. All right, and before I go, I do want to touch on one more thing, which is my love for creating special effects makeup. And while talking about this, I'm actually going to be doing a miniature look while I'm talking about this. Something that really got me into special effects makeup was watching horror films, learning about the different things that they apply, the amount of time that goes into creating horror looks, into creating costumes for people, just all this stuff you have to think about. And I think that's really important, and I just love the aesthetic behind it. It's definitely something very peaceful that I enjoy doing. I find it to be a good way to let some time pass, and even though in the beginning I don't know what I'm creating, I end up making something super unique, which, fun fact, that's what happened with Visions. I did multiple takes for the makeup that I'm doing for a certain character in that film. I can't say too much, kind of already spoiled some stuff, but I did the makeup for that film, the costuming, and I think you guys are really, really going to enjoy the look that I'm creating for this specific character that I dreamt of. And I just did some brainstorming to see what I could create, and that's when I created the look that you guys will see soon. Just moving on, I can discuss the look for Nightmare. So, fun fact about Nightmare is, if you guys have not listened to a specific episode, I will be talking about it more in depth, but fun fact is that Nightmare was supposed to be longer. It was shorter than expected because of a certain humanoid experience that I had, which, if you guys have listened to the humanoid episode, you guys would know what had happened. And something that I want to mention is, at the end of that film, you see me kind of get scared by something because I've collapsed and something's speaking to me. That person was going to have a really cool special effects makeup look. And I unfortunately didn't get the time to do it, and I was too terrified by that one experience, so I ended up making it a much shorter film. I think it was about 12 minutes and 17 seconds. I could be super wrong. If I got that right on point, that is kind of scary. I don't think it's right on point though. I think I might be a little bit behind on certain aspects. I really don't know still what I'm making right now, but I'm just going for it. I'm taking a shot in the dark. So I've taken that experience that I've had, and I'm making Visions a lot longer. This one could possibly, fun fact, I can't even believe I'm saying this, it could very much turn into a motion picture, into a full-fledged film, not even a short film, because with the content that I have, I'm very impressed, and I don't really want to cut a lot of scenes, so it could be longer than like the usual 20 minutes. I think it's going to be somewhere around 30 minutes as of now, but like I said, it could turn into like a 45-minute film. But like I said, I just find some comfort in creating horror looks and creating content that includes makeup that you can use on your face. Look at that. It looks like a scab. It literally looks like I've just burned myself. That's actually pretty cool. Like I said, this was completely improv. Now, I'm not saying it's the most amazing thing. Here is final look of this makeup. So I guess it's kind of leaning towards a scab in a way, but it looks like kind of a demon has done it. I definitely think I took a lot of my imagination to make this look from the Insidious film, which I still haven't reviewed, which I can't even believe I'm saying that. I still have not reviewed one of the scariest films that I've ever watched, Insidious. I have to. I actually completely forgot about it. Well, I didn't completely forget, but I just haven't been planning an episode for it, so I think now I have to, because that film is absolutely terrifying. So if you guys have watched that film, you would know what this is kind of symbolizing in a way. And see, I just did that unconsciously, and then looking at it, I'm like, this looks like something. I don't know what it is. Is it The Conjuring? I'm like, no, it's Insidious. Whew! This is a super long episode. I've enjoyed making this. I love talking about this podcast, you guys. It makes me so happy, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, enjoyed this very special anniversary episode. Like I said, there is so much to come, you guys. I can't wait for it all to release. I can't wait for you all to receive what is coming. And I will say there is a very special bonus episode that is going to be part of season 1, but I've already pre-recorded it. So though this is the last episode officially, there is a bonus episode which is going to be added onto it. It's one of my previous episodes that I've done, and this is an uncensored version. I think it's about 20 minutes long of just unfiltered content of me like going insane, like swearing, all this kind of stuff, because I was freaked out by this film. And I'm going to release that to you guys in September. So that one is coming. So as you guys can see, there is a perk to watching these episodes in full, because I always am giving little Easter eggs of what's to come. If you guys have watched Twitches, you would know what this symbolizes. These 3 roses have very big significance, and you guys will see what it is in October. I am so overwhelmed by people listening to this podcast. You know, it's completely changed my life, and I can't wait for it to continue changing my life. I don't want to get emotional right now, but you know, I've achieved so much in such a little moment in time. Obviously, like I said, some people might think it's nothing, like, oh my god, you're such an over-exaggerator. This means everything to me. Even, like I said, one person that connects with me on a horror level, because I made this podcast because I was lonely, because I wanted to start talking about horror films, because I have no one in my family to discuss horror films with, or anyone in my distant family to discuss it with. So I said, why not just go online, create a podcast, and try to find people that are interested in this stuff. That's when I made this one. This is such a bittersweet moment, because it's obviously the end of season 1, but it's the beginning of so much more. Make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at The Horror Headquarters, on TikTok at The Horror HQ, as well as on Facebook and on YouTube at The Horror Headquarters. There is so much planned, there is so much to come, and you guys are such a big part of that. So be prepared, because I have a lot on my plate. There's so much to be released in the months of September and October, both 2 of my favorite months. Also, September has a Friday the 13th, and I'm just going to leave it there, but thank you guys so much for joining. And like I always say, tread very lightly and pray for forgiveness. Midnight hour is approaching.